Good evening, everybody. We are going to get set up here for the Bank of America, the Bank of America finale in the Sylvania Busch Light Series. And there's no such thing as points on the table tonight, as only the top 4 are left remaining in the battle for the championship. It all depends on where they finish at the end of the night. Whoever finishes above each will be the new champion in 2023. And it's really neat once we have the front field already. 2 of our title contenders in Tayden Berggren and Al Busch on the front row. Tayden Berggren gets a pole here today, and that's going to help him tremendously in his fight to take home his first Sylvania Busch Light Championship. Al Busch definitely going to be a tough commissary for him to face up against here in Charlotte. Then we've got Trevor Walker and James Fireball Robert. Behind them we've got Jack Davis and Jordan Walker, Logan Nagy and Tom Cording, Adam Starr and Matthew Fastnot, Adam Gerberforian and Lynn Farrell, Nadak Hagum and Gavin Legend. Our next title contender starting about mid-pack here. We got the 9 of Daniel Paulus. He's going to have his work cut out for him, starting alongside Andrew Moger, mid-pack there. Then we've got John Brinker and James King, Tyler Landa and Josh Harrison, Justin Patrick and Kat Durham, Luis Rodriguez and Clarence Bonner. And then our 4th title contender, Brian DeBlank, starting pretty deep in the field here. Obviously, 300 laps is a long ways to go, so he'll have plenty of time to make it up to the front. Starting with Bella Fawn aside him. Then we got Riley Sorrell Tracy, Ethan Creech, Craig Busch, Santi Messi, Zach Armstrong, Braden Hunt, Fred Jones, Kellen Oakley, and Lucas Holmes at the very back. But none other than our front row, 2 title contenders of Tayden Berggren and Al Busch. We'll have plenty of action to follow at the front of the field early on in this one. And this will be the last Busch race for quite a while, as the 2023 winter season comes to a close tonight. We won't see this Busch Series in action again until sometime in 2024. Our winner obviously will make it up to Cup. We've already had 7, our top 7 have graduated to Cup. But going forward, it's going to be a bit more exclusive. It's going to be harder to get into Cup the more seats that get filled up. So the Busch Series field will be much smaller next year. And we're going to do only 1 driver can graduate into Cup. I do believe I'm going to try to stick with a 2-season championship where you would have the winter and the summer championship. That way you've got a little bit more flow going into the Cup Series. Every time you get a new champion in Busch, that's going to be our stepping ladder up to Cup. So Tayden Berggren here with the early lead, followed by Trevor Walker, who fell out early in the playoffs here, and Al Busch in 3rd doing what he needs to do. They know that that car has got the speed. They've been here all week long practicing, getting in their reps on the number 8 Dodge Challenger. Tayden Berggren as well has been putting in the time, the sim hours, to get that car raring and ready to go. He would definitely be a big surprise for the championship if he pulls it off here today. And that's why tonight's race is going to be 300 laps in distance, much longer than most Busch races that we hold. So 450 miles in distance. We're going to have almost a Cup Series length race here to determine the championship, and wouldn't have it any other way, as this is going to be an exciting race all night long. Top two in the field already title contenders for the overall championship between Tayden Berggren and Al Busch. And we'll have to keep our eyes on the rest of the championship contenders throughout the race. Looks like Brian DeBlank is making some moves, getting a little bit closer to mid-pack from where he started deeper in the pack. Paulus Jr. as well, holding pretty steady there in the midfield. Of course, anything can happen. You never know what might happen when the race gets going here. The Walker brothers are struggling for momentum there as Al Busch settles into second yet again. Crazy part is our top two right now are the drivers that have wins that are in the final four, and our other two drivers outside of the top 15 both have 0 wins apiece up to this point. So we could get a champion that has no wins on the season. Obviously, Tayden Berggren and Al Busch fall off from the lead here, and all that Brian DeBlank or Daniel Paulus has to do is beat them heads up on track. They don't have to win the race, and they could win the championship with 0 wins to their name. And just like that, Brian DeBlank gets by his competitor of Daniel Paulus. Paulus falling backwards at the moment early on in this run. But Brian DeBlank wants to make it interesting for this championship and make it a championship 3 at the front of the field, perhaps. Still got about 16 spots in front of him to catch up to the leaders, but making quick work the ones that he's got around so far. Honestly, 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now were championship caliber drivers. They were all in the playoffs between James Fireball Robert and the Walker brothers. And we got a battle for the lead here as Al Busch gets alongside Tayden Berggren. We might be in for a classic here tonight, folks. Still a long race, but got some good action between the title contenders at the front of the field. Tayden looks like he's going to try to hold him off on the high side here. And Al Busch takes the lead away. James Fireball Robert giving him a good push there. Fireball doesn't want to let Al Busch settle into that lead so quickly. And now we've got, Al's giving it a good run on the high side there and keeps the lead away from Fireball Robert. This is going to kind of slow up Tayden Berggren there. In the meantime, it does seem that Brian DeBlank is kind of plateaued for now, sitting in 17th still. A lot of traffic there in front of him that's going to be hard to make passes tonight, I believe. Oh, 3 wide as Tom Cording got into the wall there. That'll help. That'll definitely help Brian DeBlank get some passes made here. As long as it doesn't cause a wreck involving the 61. Ooh, Tayden kissed the wall there. That could come back to haunt him later in the race. Hopefully it was very minor. Right side panel looks clean. I don't imagine there's too much damage on the 88 car. Should be able to continue on and maybe look it over on his next pit stop to make sure there's nothing they could buff out. But in the meantime, Al Bunch leading the way. Current fast lap belongs to Lynn Farrell, which is kind of an intriguing one. The fact of the matter is Lynn Farrell is deeper in the pack. Than one would think with that fast lap. I don't even see him. '26th. So our fastest driver currently resides in 26th. Right now it looks like Tayden Berggren's trying to mount a charge behind the 2 leaders here. Got good parity at the front of the field as we've got a Dodge, a Toyota, and a Chevy leading the way. Fireball sticking his nose in there below Al Bunch. Bunch giving it some gas on the high side and driving back around him. That seems to have slowed up the 79 a little bit. And Tayden Berggren's going to take a chance to get second back here. Side by side for that position. It looks like Fireball kissed the wall that time. And Berggren has to settle back into third. Hopefully not lose a spot to fourth. Al Bunch kind of stretching out his lead at the moment. We all know how dominant Al Bunch has been, stretching back all the way to last season where he won 4 in a row. He kind of got all the pieces put together finally. And prior to that season finishing 4-race win streak, he really had not been anywhere near victory lane and actually struggled to get to this point. And so it's kind of a feel-good story for the 8 team to come this far as to where they used to be. Struggling to even finish the race or get top 5s and top 10s to dominating like he has all year this year. That 8 car, synonymous with winning by the end of 2022, has continued to uphold that standard. in number 8 Penske truck rental Dodge Challenger. And this will just be another chapter in the chronicled book for Al Bunch, as he's going to be full-time Cup right after the finish of this. He's going to have Cup races to look forward to. Although missing half the season at a full-time status, now joining with half the season to go, Al Bunch could possibly try to continue his winning ways into the Sylvania Cup Series. See if Brian DeBlank's making up any space here. Unfortunately, DeBlank still sitting mid-pack there in 18th. A little bit further back, we've got Daniel Paulus in 27th. So our other two title contenders having a bit of a struggle here. It's not likely the strategy would play a huge factor in this one, but you never know. There's still a lot of racing to go. If you're just joining in, the initial start of the race was led by Tayden Berggren. Tayden led the first 11 laps up until he lost it to Al Bunch. Since then, it's been Al Bunch at the front of the field. Here on lap 30. It's really going to shake things up once we start getting to pit stops if we don't have any cautions to bring out pit stops. Our track status from Charlotte, we don't see a lot of wrecking here for whatever reason. And especially with the Sylvania Busch Light Series, where we don't get a lot of wrecking week in, week out, I'm willing to wager that we have a long green flag run to start this one. And chances are, if we do get a caution, that those cautions will breed cautions. So as long as they stay green, I don't know if we'll see much for yellow flag. Tayden Berggren on the inside still struggling to get by. Second place Fireball there. The hustle bustle with those two have allowed the others to kind of bunch up behind them. Adam Starr making a move on Logan Nagy. John Brinker on the inside of Adam Gerber-Forian. And realistically, it looks like we've got about a 12-car breakaway as our lead 12 start to stretch it out on the rest of the drivers behind them. The drivers outside the top 12, of course, are the other title contenders of Brian DeBlank and Daniel Paulus. Brian DeBlank slowly catching up to the front of the second pack, and that could be huge if he can get to the front and get some clean air. As soon as he gets that clean air, he might be able to try and catch up to the lead 12. Almost 3 wide for position here, as you got Moger, Gerber-Forian, and Trevor Walker. Tayden keeps flirting with trying to make the pass here and not getting the right momentum to make it happen. Gotta imagine at this point in the race, though, they're mostly just trying to save what they've got, learn the track, and get a feel for what they might need to tweak and adjust throughout the rest of the race here. 450 miles in length, the longest of race distances here in the Sylvania Busch Light Series. As I mentioned, a lot like a cup race in distance, but mostly because this one has more weight and more importance tied to it with the championship on the line. And anyone that's been wondering, the truck championship will be tied up tomorrow night, about the same time as we started here tonight with the Busch Series. And we've got a good one on tap for the trucks tomorrow night with Chaz Chadwick, Atlee Weiss, and Tim Cording duking it out. Two of the returning veterans from the Championship 3 last season will be at it again tomorrow night. You couldn't ask for anything better, having two of the best veterans from 2022 being able to repeat their previous success and make it to the final three again. I got Logan Nagy up in the wall with that Cheetos Ford Mustang. The only absence at the front of the field for the parity of manufacturer is Ford and Audi. Still got Dodge, Toyota, Chevy running 1, 2, 3. You got to look back to 6 to find the first Ford. And then Brian DeBlank in our lone Audi still running 17. Daniel Paulus way back in the field, struggling in the late run, back to 27th out of 35 drivers total. It's also kind of fascinating, the success story for Tayden Berggren, almost comparable to that of Al Bunch. You know, he's struggled, hasn't looked to be a championship caliber driver, race in and race out, but finally something started clicking with that number 88 Chevy Camaro. And just like Al Bunch has gone on a tear from the transition of being lackluster, subpar, to being in this situation where they have a shot at winning the championship. So it couldn't be any closer having these two duke it out for the championship. It's truly going to come down to who wants it the most. The blood, sweat, and tears are on the line for another 256 laps. The temperature here at Charlotte in the high 70s, mid 80s throughout the day. And cooling down at night here, these guys have the coolest track that they could possibly have on a hot, not quite summer month of the year. We're getting towards summer. Still not until June 20th will there be the last week of spring. And a lot of these drivers, with the absence of the Busch Series, are going to be looking towards the Truck Series once it starts back up again in July. There's a lot still has to go into getting all the new paint schemes crafted. I was busy the other night pumping out a bunch of the truck championship schemes for next season. When we got a move here on Tayden Berggren trying to get that second spot back again here. Has to slow up here. Looks like Fireball's going to maintain second yet again. So Tayden's still struggling to make the pass. This is going to open the door up for Adam Starr perhaps to try and make a pass on the 88. Tayden's right there on the back bumper of the 79 car. Still having to hold back here, but it looks like momentum might be on the side of the 88 car this time by. What used to be our front 12 is now down to the front 5. As this front 5 has broke away from the rest of the field, we do almost have all 4 of the main manufacturers in the top 4, as you got John Brinker there in 5th. If Brinker is somehow able to get by the 27 of Starr there, we would have 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. Starr's trying to make that pass, trying to execute, but he has to let up there. Settles back into 4th. These guys all have been running hard for the first 50 laps of this race. No wrecks, no cautions yet. Only 2 changes at the front of the field for the lead. Since then, it's mostly been follow the leader as Al Bunch leads the way. Got to start thinking, too, about some of these drivers that haven't won this year. That this is their last chance in a Busch car to secure a win. And I believe John Brinker being one of those guys that would really love to slide it into victory lane tonight. One more shot at a win, and it's right there in front of him. He knows he's got a shot at it. He's got speeds comparable to the leaders. Sitting in 5th right now. If any of the leaders make a mistake, he can try to pounce. Tayden still in 3rd, trying to make the move around Fireball Robert there. But passing is at a premium tonight, as we have seen very few passes executed throughout the field. DeBlank's finally made up another spot, getting into 16th here. But it's only getting progressively harder the longer they stay green and the further the leaders stretch it out. DeBlank needs to make some moves and make them quickly if he wants to be in a shot to win it all tonight. We've got our first round of pit stops occurring right here on lap 63. Tayden Berggren inherits the lead while Al Bunch and a few others made it down pit road there. So Tayden perhaps on the long strategy, wanting to stretch it a little bit longer. If you crank the math real quick, 63 would put the last pit stop on lap 252 of 300. And if Tayden stays out here longer, he could make it a shorter pit stop at the end of the race. Take a quick gas and go perhaps, and try to steal a win. The longer he stays out, the slower he's going to be, and the faster Al Bunch will be on fresh tires right now. So let's see where they all shake out as Tayden comes down 2 laps later on lap 65. So he would be able to stretch it if he keeps at that pace of 65 laps each stretch. He can make it to lap 260 of 300. So maybe not quite as short pitting as I was expecting the longer he stretches it, because 40 laps will still be a long stretch at the end of the race compared to 48 for Al Bunch. They're doing a little bit of repair on the 88. It seems like when he kissed the wall earlier, they want to be 100% sure that that car is running at peak performance. And like that, obviously, Tayden is going to lose that front of the field position that he had to Al Bunch way out front, running faster on fresher tires. Pit stops like this often are a situation of potential wrecks and cautions to come out as everyone's exiting pit road. We've seen that happen before where there's a lot of wrecks. And Tayden Berggren deep in the field right now. Seems like it's going to have to go the distance here for his strategy to pay off. Oh, the 44 kissed the wall hard there. You kind of just saw in the background. Let's go back and see just how hard. Yeah, you can see the scuff marks on the right-hand side of the 44 car there. Logan Nagy coming out of turn 4. Clips that wall pretty good there. But Tayden rejoins the field in 6th after having run in 3rd for most of the start of the race. Fighting with lap traffic right now, side by side with Clarence Bonner. Next up for position will be the 78 of John Brinker and the 50 of Jack Davis. Adam Starr sitting in 3rd right now. James Robert in 2nd. Al Bunch leading the way. Daniel Paulus currently a lap down, right behind Al Bunch, running 30th, 1 lap down. See how DeBlank is doing. Still roughly about the same he's been all day, in 18th there. We still have not had any cars fall out of the race. All 35 cars still running. Currently have 29 of them on the lead lap. The rest of them 1 lap down. And this may very well be the more boring stretch of the race, as Al Bunch really does not have any competition in his zip code right now. Might only be 95 laps through this one, but it looks like the rest of the group catching back up to Al Bunch here, as you've got the 79 of Fireball, the 27 of Adam Starr, and then Jack Davis and John Brinker. Tayden Berggren, the next group back, still slowly catching back up to the front of the field. But we will have a little bit more action with the lead lighten up here in a moment, as 100 right around the corner will be 1/3 of the way through the race. We'll keep an eye on that. Well, the lead has shrunk a little bit. Is Fireball Robert now closing in on Al Bunch in the lead? Our top four within 2 seconds of each other. Our next title contender is Tayden Berggren in 5th. After that round of green flag pit stops, Al Bunch re-inherits the lead, but this time, second place, Adam Starr right there on his tail. This will make things a little bit more interesting on this second long run. This second extension of the green flag run that we are on. 88 of Tayden Berggren, 7th now. Still struggling to stay towards the front of the field. But now Al Bunch has a new competitor for the lead here tonight, Adam Starr. These two are closing up on lap traffic in front of them. Al Bunch has his hands full right now as Adam Starr wants to try and take the lead away and become the third different driver to lead the race here in the Bank of America 450. And do remember, folks, Al Bunch does not have to win the race to win the championship. So if he deems it sort of dangerous to be racing for the win here with Adam Starr, he could let Adam Starr by anytime and let him push the envelope, risk it getting a wreck, while Al Bunch could sit back and just count the laps as they tick away. As long as he beats Tayden Berggren in the 88 car, all he's got to do is finish in front of him, and he got the championship. It's crazy that we've almost made it through halfway in this race and we have still not seen any cautions come out. Non-stop green flag run from lap 1 to 143 as we turn lap 143 on the track. And the leaders have been primarily Tayden Berggren for the first 10 laps and Al Bunch for every other lap after that. Tayden continues to run 12 seconds back in 7th place. So the championship battle looking very meek at this point, as Al Bunch out front by a full 12 seconds over his competitor. We almost had a change for the lead there. Adam Starr giving Al Bunch hell at the front of the field. But Al Bunch gets back in front, settles back into the lead. It's going to be a hard-fought battle here. Adam Starr definitely wants to end the season on a high note. Good battling here between the two of them. Even though Adam Starr is not a championship contender, he still wants to make sure to get a win tonight to cap off the 2023 season here in Busch. And at what point, if you're Al Bunch, do you just let off the throttle and let the 27 by you? I mean, there's really nothing worth fighting for at this point. Why even race that hard against someone that's not in the championship battle? That probably will eventually cross the team's mind to relay the message to Al Bunch. It's like, hey, if he really wants to get by you, you might just let him by so that you can run your own race and fight for the championship. He, on the other hand, is not fighting for a championship. We'll see. It looks like he's stretching out the lead again here and leaving Adam Starr further behind. But that could be a very viable question to ask yourself, whether or not to let him by. We are more past halfway now. Al Bunch still dominating this race. And his next contender, Adam Starr, still within the picture there. But not in the championship battle is Adam Starr. Our other title contender deeper in the field right now, running in seventh, Tayden Berggren, 13 seconds back from the lead. He's going to need a caution to get back into this one. 13 seconds is a huge gap to try and close without any caution laps to help connect them back up together. It does help a little bit that Al Bunch is running through lap traffic. But what doesn't help Tayden is the fact that Al Bunch is masterfully cruising his way through the lap traffic. He's not put a foot wrong yet in that number 8 Dodge Challenger. has led majority of the laps here today, all but 12. And Nadaka Gum fighting back on the inside lap traffic. The 0-2 car. But Al Bunch definitely laying down the gauntlet here tonight, proving why he has been the hottest driver this season for the Sylvania Busch Light Series. We're going to be down to our final 120 laps. Once we get past the 2/3 mark of the race, it's going to start going pretty quickly, because eventually it'll be double digits that we'll have left run here in the 2023 season. Our next round of green flag pit stops should be coming closely here, roughly around the 187 to 194 lap range. Whether or not Al Bunch pits early or pushes it later, we'll have to see. He didn't really stick to his 62 lap stretch. The second stint was about 65 laps, so maybe he'll go 62, maybe he'll go 65. We'll just have to watch. So yeah, Adam Starr in second there has not got a win yet this season. So definitely hungry to get to victory lane and put it there at least once in the season. Our championship battle has kind of grown very stale right now. Our other title contenders, Brian DeBlank, surprisingly actually up to 9th. So if we were to get a caution, we could see Brian DeBlank within range of catching up to the lead. That means that DeBlank has had to have turned some quick laps to stay on the lead lap. And not only stay on the lead lap, but catching up to the likes of even Tayden Berggren, whom he's within the same zip code on. So our other two title contenders close together, but far from the lead. Green flag pit stops happening right now. Perhaps we may see a caution if someone puts a wheel in the wrong spot. But so far, it has just been a perfect race and execution for everyone. We have not seen anyone spin out, lose contact with the surface. Although at this point, it would make for an interesting finish if we could get at least one restart in the books. Brian DeBlank maybe trying to play that strategy game to perfection. I could imagine if he's able to close up to the top 10 like he has, perhaps he's playing a very smart strategy here to try and work his way up to the front of the field. In 5th right now, I don't know if he's running out of gas or what was going on there. He's getting up to full speed on the backstretch, so apparently the AI just kind of freaked out there on him. Gonna stay out another lap regardless. Al Bunch staying out just as long. The 8 car still in the lead. And Brian DeBlank coming down pit road this time by, as well as Al Bunch already on pit road. So big telltale is whether or not Al Bunch has a bad pit stop here. Brian DeBlank, I think, is going to make a killing on catching up to that 8 car. As you can see, almost simultaneously on the same pit stop here with that 8 car. Al Bunch does not have any troubles with his pit stop coming out now. Brian DeBlank seems to be doing some repairs to the 61, which is only going to cause him to lose a lot of momentum on track. So much for that storyline I was building and hyping up. Seems that DeBlank is going to return to track about where he was behind Tayden Berggren maybe. There was some damage on the side of the 61 car, so you got to imagine they were going to work on repairing it. As you can see, the damage significantly cleaner. But the problem now is Brian DeBlank is officially a lap down to Al Bunch. So that was the kiss of death for the 61. This has just been an unfair race for anyone not named Al Bunch. Oh, and now we've got... Oh boy, this is a scary situation here. Is our title contender of Daniel Paulus is blown up from 31st. Severe engine damage to the number 9. It even caused Al Bunch a bit of a scare there as he kissed the wall. You can see some significant damage on the side of the 8 car. He got a little bit scared when he saw the smoke. With a little bit of evasive maneuver, slams into the wall. That could be some significant damage to Al Bunch. He has not had a mistake all day, all night, but that right there may very well be his first mistake of the evening. Slapping the wall coming into the front stretch. Unfortunately, one of our 4 title contenders may be out of the race now due to the severe damage to the engine on the number 9 there. Comes down pit road. They're looking under the hood to see what they might be able to fix. But as many laps down as he is right now, the championship looks very much out the door. So Daniel Paulus has made it this far, and it's definitely not something to be disappointed about. You made it all the way to the Final Four in the Busch Series here, and that's an accomplishment in its own. Especially with 0 wins. The number 9 car had no wins up to this point. And Daniel Paulus is still going to finish 4th in the championship. He may not have had as good a shot at getting a top 4 finish by the start of the season. There you go, retired with a clutch failure on the number 9 car with 100 laps to go now. But still, regardless, congratulations on making it this far and even surviving 200 laps tonight like you did. That did definitely add a bit of a scare for the 8 car, I must say. He saw the smoke and had an evasive maneuver into the wall. And currently the lead belongs to Adam Starr, who played the strategy game to perfection here, inheriting the lead over Al Bunch. And if you're just tuning in, so far it's been the Al Bunch show. This last round of green flag pit stops has actually cost Al Bunch the lead for the first time in the race. After he led, taking the lead from Tayden Berggren, it's been Al Bunch leading the whole time. Now it is Adam Starr leading the way. Adam Starr has 0 wins this season, and it would be his first win of 2023. Based on how they're running, Al Bunch still would be your champion by finishing 2nd. He still finishes ahead of Tayden Berggren, Brian DeBlank, and the now departed Daniel Paulus Jr., who's out of the race with a clutch failure. 96 laps to go. This is where the race will start clipping by quicker and quicker. Everyone's going to have to come down pit road at least one more time, wagering that the final round of pit stops will be around 252 to lap 260. And Al Bunch, with that damage on the side of his car, he might actually have to spend some time on pit road next time by, trying to repair that. And you know very well, if there's a repair being made, you're going to lose some momentum on track. And that could be the story we need for a championship battle between him and Tayden Berggren at the end of this one. We have still not seen a single caution all night here at Charlotte. It has been green flag from lap 1 to 206. We've seen 3 different leaders and a lot of varying action at the front of the field. At one point we saw Al Bunch just dominating, stretching that lead out tremendously over everyone. Second round we had a battle between him and Adam Starr. Although until the green flag pit stops came, Al Bunch maintained the lead over Adam Starr. But the last round of green flag pit stops, everyone came down. Adam Starr actually benefited the most, getting the lead and stealing it from Al Bunch. Now, if you're looking at the times there, Al Bunch, he's not slouching in 2nd. He's still closing that gap to the lead and possibly trying to race back to the front of the field yet again. .94 is now a 1.53. So as you can see, Adam Starr's given up the momentum here. Al Bunch will be closing in on him before you know it. Al Bunch definitely closing back in on the lead here. He's still got 4 cars separating him from catching back up with Adam Starr in the 27. But in the meantime, it is really just Al Bunch in the title fight, as Tayden Berggren still 16 seconds back of him. Still 81 laps to go. Last round of green flag pit stops to be around lap 260. So we're halfway through this fuel run. Another 40 laps before it starts to see people rounding pit lane. And tonight's been a pretty civilized race through and through. I mean, we've seen some passes at the lead and dominant stretches here, but not much at all going for anyone outside of Al Bunch in the title battle. It's been a somewhat lackluster championship finale. Not every race is going to be perfect excitement. Sometimes you get stuck with the in-betweeners fighting, you know, a mid-race like it is here, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, someone is still number 1, someone is still number 2, someone is still number 3, and someone is still number 4. And that's an accomplishment in its own, to have a neat little ribbon on this little thing that we call a season. A battle for a championship comes down to this. And sometimes it might just be a watch the paint dry as the championship gets decided. I mean, you look at F1, not every year is going to be a excitement slam dunk championship battle. It was awesome when it happened that one year between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. And that's honestly, I'd rather capture those moments authentically and organically rather than try to manipulate the outcome of every given race to try and provoke that Game 7 moment. And even with the way that the playoffs are laid out, there's still a lot of opportunities for that Game 7 moment to happen tonight. I mean, we just saw Al Bunch hit the wall. That could come back to haunt him in another 40 laps. Making his last round of pit stops, you never know. He could lose about 10 seconds on pit strategy, and Tayden Berggren get back in the mix. We could have a caution right now. Could have a caution that involves Al Bunch, taking him out of the top 10 in the running order. .74 laps to go now. Still Adam Starr out in the lead. We officially have our first caution of the night. Why is there no caution for that? The leader gets spun on the front stretch here. I'm going to wave the manual flag as I don't... what the hell's going on, man? Adam Starr rejoins the field in fourth. I don't... How did that not bring out a caution? The leader of the race gets spun out right from the lead. As you can see here, the 11 of Craig Busch hooks him, spinning him out. He is fully sideways on track. We'll let the game roll with it, I guess. It must have been deemed a safe enough recovery from the 27 to rejoin the track, staying out of trouble. Kind of want to see the race go all the way to the next round of green flag pit stops because I want to see what happens on Al Bunch if he's going to have to stick around on pit road longer to get those repairs made. So much for Adam Starr potentially getting his first win tonight of the season. He is now got to fight from behind again, try and catch up to Al Bunch. He had worked so hard to get that lead just for it to get thrown away there. And I think that's also a huge factor here. Al Bunch has been staying out of trouble all night tonight. He could have been the guy getting spun out from the lead. I mean, even Craig Busch still there in the picture. Al Bunch better be careful that he didn't get turned from Craig Busch, just like Adam Starr got turned by Craig Busch out of the lead. This kind of resets the whole spectrum of the race as Al Bunch leads it again. Final round of green flag pit stops going to be coming up shortly here. Anywhere from the 250 to 262 lap range. Must say Adam Starr made one hell of a recovery after getting spun out of the lead. He only lost about 14 seconds getting spun out. Spins it and rejoins the track, coming on into fourth there. And we'll have to see if that 13.2 second gap either shrinks or grows. Yeah, it's slightly growing, so that car may be a little bit rougher for the wear after kissing the wall, getting spun out. No caution, crazy as it was. Spun from the lead. Our leader spins a full 360 degrees, and the flagman simply sitting on his yellow flag tonight. He does not want to budge and lets this race continue green. The odds of that happening twice is infinitely unlikely. Seeing the leader get spun out from the lead one time is crazy enough. Al Bunch in the lead now, hopefully wants to stay out of that scenario. But anything's possible, especially with 57 laps to go here. Currently holds a 4.5 second lead over Matthew Fastnot. Al Bunch was one of few drivers that had an opportunity to win both the truck and the Busch championship. And seems that he's just going to be able to settle for one of the two. Doing very well tonight to secure it. And then we've got another interesting scenario in the truck series. All three of those drivers still fighting for a championship in Cup this year. Especially Atlee Weiss, who leads the Cup championship right now. Rolls into the truck championship after a dominant performance at the Roval that locked him into the final three, the Omega 3. And so Atlee, with a shot tomorrow night, could win the truck championship and possibly look towards winning a Cup championship after that. He could become one of our first ever dual champions in a season, as we have only hosted the trucks in the Busch series since 2022. This is the second season for these guys. Very, very fresh, very new to the series. Unlike the Sylvania Cup series, it's been around since 2010. We've got a lot of new first times coming up that we will be able to spectate on. Pit stops happening here just around lap 249. Al Bunch is going to stay out a couple more laps here. I imagine quite a distance he might stretch it to is even 258 to 260 at the lead here. They might even want to try to get him down pit road sooner, though, due to the damage sustained when he kissed the wall, avoiding the 9 of Daniel Paulus Jr. Yeah, the nice thing for Daniel Paulus, even though he's going to finish 35th tonight, being in the Final Four, he is guaranteed 4th overall in the championship. So still a great night for Daniel Paulus. Great season to cap it out with a top 4 finish in the overall standings at the end of the year. Al Bunch does not wait very long at all. He comes in here on lap 250, which will be just enough to get him all the way to the finish here. 27 makes a quick pit stop there. I must not have been too much damage from getting spun out in the lead. Al Bunch making his service on the 8 car. Taking right side tires. Pulling the jack around. Giving them left side tires. Full 50 laps remain. It looks like Al Bunch is going to do some damage repair on that car. As Tayden Berggren, we'll get to see exactly where these two are going to shake out. Man, this is taking longer than expected for Al Bunch to get that damage repaired. I don't think Tayden Berggren's going to need any damage repair. There you go. You got the 8 car rolling out. 88 spending a little bit extra time on pit road as well, doing some damage repair, it seems. And that might be your gap right now. Not a very big gap from Al Bunch to Tayden Berggren. This battle could heat up in the closing laps. Al Bunch already back up to speed in turns 3 and 4. Just now entering turn 3, it's Tayden Berggren as Al Bunch is taking another lap under his belt. What I do think this will do is probably shuffle out Matthew Fastnot to the lead. Fastnot was about 4 seconds back coming down pit road now. Fastnot did inherit the lead there briefly and put the 8 car 1 lap down. 8 car gets their lap back. As Fastnot's making the slow, grueling pace down to his pit stall. Keep an eye on the camera towards the back of the field and see if we can see the 8 car. There's Al Bunch coming around to take a lap, and Matthew Fastnot's not going to keep the lead. As you can see, Tayden Berggren now turning a lap. It looks like Tayden Berggren is going to get by Fastnot here. Jack Davis. So Fastnot stayed a few 2 laps too many. Man, Tayden Berggren is going to give it hell here. He's got one more opportunity to win the championship here tonight, folks. Brian DeBlank unfortunately trapped a lap down right now. Al Bunch looks like he's going to maintain his lead. Man, how the heck did I miss that one? Did he actually put them 2 laps down? The 8 is 1 lap down at this point. So yeah, they'd almost gone 2 laps down. They got one of their laps back there and rejoined the field 47 seconds off the lead. 10 seconds off the lead. So yeah, Fastnot had almost put them 2 laps down, and he continues by leading the race here with only 38 laps to go. But in the meantime, the gap is the smallest it's ever been for the 2 title contenders, as the damage that Al Bunch sustained, he had to stay on pit road a little bit longer, and that pushed him closer to Tayden Berggren. Tayden Berggren, only 5 seconds separate him from a championship. If Tayden Berggren can pull off the Hail Mary here, all he's got to do is catch Al Bunch in the closing laps. There's a lot of racing that could still shake out in favor of Tayden Berggren. And crazier is the fact that Matthew Fastnot's out front leading right now. He's had a couple shots at trying to win a championship this year, and each turn it kind of stole it from him. It'd be a bit of redemption of sorts if he's able to get a win here tonight. It's not a championship winning race win, but it's still a win nonetheless. Belafon is for position. If she's able to get by Al Bunch, that's going to shake things up a little bit. It's also very possible, very likely, that there ain't going to be much to come from this, as you still see Al Bunch really not closing up on Matthew Fastnot, but not really losing any momentum to Tayden Berggren either. It's staying pretty steady lap after lap, and we're down to 32 laps to go. So honestly, the laps are going to clip by quicker than the gap shrinking. Closest it's been for majority of the race here, prior to the beginning of the race, where Tayden Berggren actually led the way over Al Bunch. Oh, and here we go. This could mix things up as Brian DeBlank gets alongside Al Bunch. The more side-by-side racing is going to close the gap between Al Bunch and Tayden Berggren. Berggren's gap starting to grow, unfortunately, as it's up to 5 seconds separating him from Al Bunch. We'll see after that side-by-side move from Brian DeBlank. Still 5 seconds separate the two. Matthew Fastnot way out front leading this race. Inherited the lead due to Al Bunch having to stay on pit road and do some repairs on the 8 car. He kissed the wall earlier at about halfway when the 9 of Daniel Paulus Jr. was blowing up. Al Bunch made an evasive maneuver to avoid making contact with the slowing traffic, and due to that, they had a little bit of damage on the right side of the car on that last green flag pit stop. Green flag pit stops, you don't lose as much momentum making a repair. So they wanted to make sure that the car was up to snuff for these last 40 laps. Making that fix took about 11 seconds out of his lead, and gave those 11 seconds up to the 09 of Matthew Fastnot. In the meantime, it's a Hail Mary away for Tayden Berggren to try and steal this championship from Al Bunch. We saw the 27 of Adam Starr get wrecked from the lead. Al Bunch better be counting his lucky stars that he has not been spun out tonight. It could still happen, especially when we still got 28 laps of racing to go. That's still a good lengthy chunk of on-track action here. Still have not seen a single caution all night. Even when the 27 got spun out, the flag man simply sat on his flag and waited. And I think that was the best case scenario, because we're starting to see a championship chapter closing here, as Al Bunch is not going to let any of this fool him or the team. They have got the car to take home the championship here. Still has a little bit of forest to get through here. It's no easy stroll in the park for the number 8 car. It never is. As the lap traffic continues to give him fits, he's actually dropped to 12 seconds back now. And that's going to allow Tayden Berggren to stay within 5 seconds of his championship comrade. Belafon with a very superior run here tonight. A top 3 finish in the books for her. She could play spoiler and get by Al Bunch and push Al Bunch another spot backwards. Brian DeBlank gets by, and that's only going to help Tayden Berggren's case a little bit more. As you can see, Al Bunch losing a position here to Belafon as well. If Al Bunch somehow loses this draft that he's working with, you can see the next 2 cars in line will be the 35 of Santi Messi and the 88 of Tayden Berggren. So that's where the championship lies, right there on track. Separated by 6 seconds from one group to the next. It's very unlikely that Al Bunch will lose his draft here with this group. And we only have 22 laps to go, so you can tell all these drivers are giving it their all, giving it hell here tonight at Charlotte. It's been a solid process for these drivers to not cause any cautions through 280 laps run. Green flag the entire way. We've seen about 4 different leaders amongst Al Bunch, Tayden Berggren, Adam Starr, and now Matthew Fastnot. 17 laps to go this time by. And Belafonte still trying to fight for that position. Wants to come home second tonight rather than third. That gap still not looking any different, really. It's about 7 seconds from Al Bunch back to Tayden Berggren in fourth. Short of said Hail Mary, I don't see anyone catching up to Al Bunch here. But it truly made it a little bit more interesting, and more interesting than I expected this race to finish. It kind of looked like Al Bunch was simply going to lead all the laps and close out the deal tonight. But wanted to be the flair for dramatics, found a way to lose some momentum and lose some track position, and he's within the Sharks' grasp of Tayden Berggren. But it looks like it's going to be all for naught by the time that the checkered flag waves. With only 13 laps to go now. Still 6 seconds separating him and Tayden. It's going to be a close loss for Tayden. Still a solid season no matter what. Brian DeBlank, the other title contender, will be in front of Al Bunch, but 1 lap down in 19th. We saw this situation kind of play out at the Roval last race, where he was a lap down and only was able to work his way into the final 4 when a lot of drivers stalled on pit road, and he came back around from 19th, 1 lap down, to being into the top 5 on the lead lap. None of that's going to happen tonight. Seems like no one was going to stop on pit road for any extended amount of time other than to repair damage, minor or severe. Nine laps to go this time. Still, Al Bunch wants to be careful that he does not get caught up in any shenanigans here in the closing laps. If he were to get spun, that could be it. It could go right to Tayden. And you got to imagine, too, that Brian DeBlank is not going to let Al Bunch off easy here. Even though he's a lap down, he's still fighting for a championship. And given the opportunity, if Al Bunch tried to pass DeBlank could just give him the bump and run and keep doing that until Al Bunch makes a fatal mistake that may cost him the championship. Al Busch right on the back bumper of the 61, still very hesitant to try and make the pass on DeBlank, knowing that situation could occur. For 293 laps, so 7 laps to go. Six seconds, still the gap from Tayden to Al Busch. Cat Durham with a solid top 5 run tonight. Definitely a well improved run for him. And Tayden's lap time's very much slower than the 8 of Al Busch. 5 laps to go. You won't miss any of it as the action will unfold right here in front of you. 5 more laps to determine a championship here tonight at Charlotte. It has been all Al Busch at the front up until now, with the 09 of Matthew Fastnot at the front, lapping so much further up the field than the rest of them. Matthew with possibly another win in the Busch Series here tonight. This may very well be a Greg Biffle kind of situation way back in the earlier years when NASCAR didn't have the Final Four. The championship would get decided at Homestead, and for whatever reason, Greg Biffle really knew how to win races at Homestead. It wasn't until they created the Final Four in NASCAR that it seems like the champion is the race winner every time. Never used to be like that when the championship was determined on a full season. So hence what I was saying, Greg Biffle doing a Greg Biffle here and winning the race while someone else is out to win the championship. Al Busch still sitting second right now, holding a 7-second lead over his competition of Tayden Berggren in fourth there. Short of something erratic happening, this looks like it's going to be all Al Busch. Two laps to go this time by, and Matthew Fastnot is going to lead the rest of the field to the white flag here. Coming around turn 3, heading through turn 4, the white flag waving in hand. The race is official at this point. There's no going back. We'll keep an eye on Al Busch from here on out for the rest of the race here to see whether or not Tayden will close the gap or not. The gap still remaining at about 6 seconds from him to Tayden. Yep, 6 seconds from him to Tayden. Now on the backstretch, gonna make a move here. He waits till this last moment to try and get back by Brian DeBlank, knowing very well that DeBlank does not want to let Al Busch by. But it's gonna be Al Busch taking home the championship tonight. Matthew Fastnot secures another win here in the Busch Series for himself. His other win came earlier this season at Pocono, which was able to lock him into the first round of the playoffs. 450 miles here in the Busch Series, and kind of a surprise winner tonight with Matthew Fastnot taking home the win. Tayden Berggren comes home close in that championship battle, finishing 6 seconds off of Al Bunch. Good enough to stay in second in the title bout, but the overall champion for the winter of 2023 is Al Bunch, who had a great, tremendous season all year this year. And that luck and that speed and everything is probably going to transition over to his Cup career now. Comes home second, but also the champion of the season. So great racing tonight. We saw a little bit of everything. We did not see a caution though. So we didn't actually see a little bit of everything. There was no halting for caution. We went from lap 1 to 300 under green flag conditions, which is pretty crazy given that we had the leader get spun out at one point. And it's a 450-mile race, so you got to believe that all those guys' tongues are hanging out of their mouth after a hard-fought race all night tonight. 2.5 hours later, and our Busch Championship has come to a close. And we won't be featuring these cars for another year, basically another 6 months. So glad that we were able to make it to another checkpoint in our early servers history, you know. It's pretty neat that we've been able to crown 3 champions within the Busch and Truck Series, and we'll crown a 4th one tomorrow night with the trucks. Congratulations to Al Bunch. Also, congratulations to Tayden Berggren for making it to the Final Four, Brian DeBlank for making it to the Final Four, and the other of Daniel Paulus Jr. to have also made it into that Final Four. All 4 of them will be moving on up to Cup, and it's going to be exciting to watch their ventures in the Cup Series, whether they will be fighting for wins or competing for Rookie of the Year status next season. So thank you, everyone. Glad that you tuned in. Thanks for supporting this little project of mine. I'm always happy to broadcast these races, and this is another championship of many more for the future that'll have in store for us. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow for the Truck Championship.